My name is Alex Morris, and if someone had told me back then that my life would one day turn into a black and white void in a broken bar, I would have laughed right in their face, because I had everything. I had Leah, my wife, my heart, my life. We lived simply, no luxury, no loud crowds, an old house on the edge of the city, quiet evenings, her voice in the kitchen, her laughter reflected in the window glass, her warm hands on my face. I never thought happiness could disappear in a matter of minutes, but it happened that night. I came home late. I got stuck at work. I parked the car by the gate and immediately noticed something strange. Silence. The house stood dark, lifeless, no light, no sound, not the slightest sign of life inside. An uneasy feeling twisted in my chest. Leah always waited for me. She could never just go to sleep without hearing me come home. I knew her too well, but that night a broken bar, it was different. I walked inside. On the kitchen table lay a cup of tea, half finished, a blanket on the chair, her phone left on the table, but no Leah. I called her name, loudly, desperately. Silence. I searched every room, nothing, and then I saw the bedroom window was wide open, the curtains swayed in the night wind. On the floor her necklace, torn apart. I bent down and clenched it in my fist. Cold crept down my spine. She was taken. I could feel it with every cell of my body. I rushed outside, examined the ground. Tire tracks, deep, fresh, leading into the forest. I chased after her blindly. I drove down the dark road where the trees stood like mute witnesses to someone else's cruelty. I called her name. I begged God to let me be in time, but I wasn't. Deep in the woods, I found what shattered me forever. Her body, lying on the cold ground, lifeless, like a petal torn from its stem. Her hair scattered across the moss. Her hands folded on her chest. A faint, peaceful smile frozen on her lips. But she wasn't sleeping. She wasn't breathing. She wasn't coming back to me. I fell to my knees. And at that very moment, my whole world shattered into 1,000 pieces. I screamed. I called her name. I whispered everything I hadn't had time to say while she was alive. Forgive me. I'm here. I will find him. I swear to you I will find the one who did this. And then something inside me broke completely. The pain burned out. Only emptiness remained. And cold, heavy resolve. I stood up, wiped the tears from my face, and became someone else. Someone who had nothing left to lose. Someone who would find the one who did this, and make him go through exactly the same. I don't remember how I got into the car. I don't remember starting the engine, or stepping on the gas pedal, or flying down the road like a madman. There were no thoughts left in my head, only pain, raw, animalistic pain burning in my chest. Nothing could stop me now. Not traffic lights, not potholes on the road, not even common sense. I was driving straight into the forest, where the tire tracks led, where they had taken her. Leah, my Leah. I reached the old dirt road within minutes, a place nobody ever went to unless they had a reason. My tires slipped in the mud, the car shaking on every bump. The forest stood dead, dark, silent. The trees seemed to watch me, indifferent witnesses to everything that had happened here. I got out of the car, and walked, following the tracks, following the torn ground. And the further I went into the woods, the tighter my chest became. I didn't want to find her like this. I prayed to myself that I was wrong, that this was some monstrous mistake, but life no longer heard my prayers. I found her by an old ravine. Leah lay on the ground, so quiet, so peacefully, as if she had just fallen asleep in the grass. Her hair was scattered over the moss, her hands folded across her chest. There was a barely noticeable sad smile frozen on her lips, but she wasn't breathing. She wasn't blinking. She wasn't getting up to run into my arms. I dropped to my knees, and in that second, my entire world shattered. I screamed. I called her name. I whispered everything I should have told her while she was still alive. I'm sorry. I'm here. I will find him. I swear to you I will find the one who did this. And that night, that very night, I died along with her. And by morning, another man was born. A man with nothing left to lose. A man who would find the monster who did this, and make him feel exactly what I felt now. No mercy. no forgiveness, no escape. I stood over her body for a long time, far too long, until my heart turned to stone, until the tears dried up, until there was nothing left inside me but emptiness and rage. The world around me no longer existed. The forest was no longer just a forest. The ground beneath my feet was no longer just earth. I could feel only one thing: a trail. It was leading me forward. It was calling me. I knew the killer was still near. I could feel his steps on this ground, his fear, his breathing. He thought it was over. He thought he had killed me along with Leah. But he was wrong. I bent over her one last time. "I'm sorry," I whispered. "I couldn't save you. But I swear to you tonight, he will never touch anyone else again." I closed her eyes with my trembling hand, and stood up, no longer a man, now a hunter. The tire tracks led deeper into the forest. I walked quickly, mechanically, feeling neither fatigue nor cold. I followed his trail as if on a tightrope stretched in the darkness. There was only one image left in my head: his face. I didn't know who he was, but the moment I saw him I would know, because people like him leave a special scent behind, the scent of death, the scent of filth and fear. Half an hour later I reached an abandoned house, old, wooden, covered in moss, broken steps, empty windows. The door was slightly ajar. A car was parked to the side, black, dirty, and on its hood lay blood, her blood. My hand clenched into a fist on its own. I didn't feel fear, only cold resolve. I pulled a knife from my pocket, an old army knife that belonged to my father. He used to say, "A weapon is an extension of your will. If you pull it out, you don't hesitate." I had no doubts left. I entered the house. Inside it reeked of mold, of rotting wood, of someone else's miserable life. I moved slowly, almost silently. Each step echoed in my head like a gunshot. In the corner of the room, a dim lamp was burning, and in the half-light I saw him, a man, a killer. He was sitting at a table, his back to me, drinking something from a dirty mug. I stood there, watching him, and I knew it was him, the man who stole my Leah, the man who took my life. I took a step forward, and at that moment, he turned around. Our eyes met, and for the first time I saw exactly what I had been waiting for: fear. He looked at me the way people look at death. His eyes said it all: panic, terror, realization. He never expected to see me here, never thought someone like me would make it this far. An ordinary man, a husband, someone he had taken everything from. But I stood there, alive, and behind me walked not fear, behind me walked revenge. He jerked away from the chair. I didn't hurry. He tried to speak, his voice shaking. "A broken bar." I didn't know a broken bar. His words vanished into the void. Didn't know. He knew enough to steal my wife from me. He knew enough to leave her body in the forest like garbage. And he knew one more thing: I would come, sooner or later. I took a step forward. The knife flashed in my hand, that same old army knife. My father once told me, "A weapon is an extension of your will. If you draw it, do not hesitate." I didn't hesitate. He stumbled backward, shaking like a cornered animal, as if the walls of the house were pressing down on him. It smelled of dust, old wood, his fear. I stared at him silently. In my heart there was neither mercy nor doubt, only the memory of Leah, her eyes, her voice, her life, taken by this man. He lunged for the door. I grabbed him by the collar, threw him back into the room. He fell heavily, crashing onto the floor, tried to crawl away, mumbled something incoherent. Promises, apologies, empty noise. I leaned down over him. "You took everything from me," I said calmly. He trembled. There was only one question left in his eyes: "What will you do to me?" I knew the answer. I would do exactly what he did to her. He would show me what a person feels when life is ripped away from them, when there's no one left to help, when no one hears you, when death stares right into your eyes. That night I wasn't a hero. That night I was a shadow, an executioner, and no one would ever call me weak again. That night, the forest was different. Dead, empty. I walked out of that old house slowly, step by step. Behind me blood, walls soaked in fear, air thick with pain. Inside that house, I put an end to it. Inside that house he died, the one who took Leah from me. I don't remember his face, and I don't want to. For me, He wasn't a man, he was a shadow, someone else's evil, a blank space now erased from this world. I stood on the cold ground, looking into the darkness of the forest, and I felt emptiness. There was no joy, no relief. Revenge is not medicine, it's poison. It eats you from the inside. Slowly and quietly, I walked to the car, sat behind the wheel, laid her necklace on the seat, the very one I found back at home, the last thing left of Leah, a small symbol of the life that was stolen from me. I started the engine and drove away, without looking back, without thinking, without feeling the road beneath me. I returned home at dawn. The house greeted me with silence, but it was different now. Not the same silence that swallowed me on the night she disappeared. Now it was the silence of acceptance. I took off my jacket, walked into the bedroom, lay down on the bed on the side where she used to sleep, closed my eyes, and for the first time in a long while, I didn't dream of nightmares. There were no screams, no fear, only her smile, her memory, and silence. I knew the pain would stay with me forever. The emptiness would never disappear. But now it wasn't the emptiness of weakness. It was the emptiness of strength, of memory, of truth. I wasn't a hero. I wasn't a martyr. I was a husband who earned the right to breathe again. And in this world full of evil and pain, that was already a victory. The end.